Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Namaduhu nasalli ala Rasul al-Kareem. Viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be seen, but his signs are visible to all those who have intelligence. Allah tabaraka ta'ala wants his creation to recognize his greatness by seeing the signs in the creation and in themselves. Allah Ta'ala has given intelligence so that it can be used. Any intelligent person will know that such a complex system that exists in the world and in their own bodies cannot come into existence without a design. Everything is so perfect that only an intelligent designer, intelligent creator can create such a complex, sophisticated system. Human intelligence will lead a person to that conclusion. And those people who use their intelligence just on the creation without recognizing the creator will be blind in the next life. And they will ask why they are blind, because they could see in the previous life, and they will be told that they were blind to the reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them eyes, but they did not use their eyes. As the Quran says, they have eyes, but they see not. The question is, they do see, but they don't see the reality. So Allah ta'ala, when he's pleased with somebody, he gives them the sense, he gives them the guidance to see the truth. And when he's displeased, when he's angry with somebody, he takes away that ability from that person. If a person is stubborn, refuses to use his intelligence as it should be used to recognize the Creator, then his punishment is that he loses that ability. He may be very knowledgeable in other things. He may have won Nobel Prizes, and he may have had great achievements in life. But those achievements inside of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have no value whatsoever. A person who has intelligence and does not recognize the Creator is not worth anything in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas another person who may have nothing on this world, but he's able to recognise that there is a supreme being, a great creator who did everything for a purpose. So that person is using his intelligence in the right way. Whereas a person who spent all his life using his intelligence working on the creation and did not recognize the Creator will end up being a loser. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran that He will show their signs. He will show them their signs in the heavens and in themselves until the unbelievers know that this is from Allah. So this is a big challenge for mankind, to recognize the Creator without seeing Him, to recognize or to understand the life which is to come without seeing it. There are many people, there was a time people used to think that the earth is flat, and it looks like that. People at that time just relied on their eyes, and they looked at it and said it's flat. But when they got the knowledge that it's not flat, then they realized that they had made a mistake. So the reality was something different, because they did not have the necessary knowledge. They were just relying on their eyesight. They were just relying on their eyes. They came to the wrong conclusion. So when a person is just relying on his eyes without the knowledge then he may not have the right conclusion. So Allah gives examples of that in this life. We know that when Rasulullah SAW was migrating from Mecca to Medina, he hid in a cave and his pursuers came, they were able to trace him to the place where he was. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made arrangements. A spider came and made a web over there, and these people were using their intelligence, and they came to the conclusion, based on intelligence, that no person could be hiding inside this. So their intelligence fooled them. So Allah gives examples in human life how a person can be deceived by their own eyesight, by their own intelligence. The people who just rely on that many times may reach the wrong conclusion. So Allah Ta'ala is above all these things. He's able to do anything that He wills. The people who were watching the miracles of Musa alayhi salam, how the stick turned into a snake, and how the snake turned into a stick. They thought this was magic. Pharaoh thought this was magic. But the magicians who came in support of the Pharaoh, they recognized this was not magic. So some people were deceived, and some people were not deceived. So in this world, there are two types of people. There are those who are deceived by what they see, and there are those who are not deceived by what they see. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at every time, at every stage in history, has kept two kinds of people. They are the believers and disbelievers. The believers know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing them, and the disbelievers behave or live their lives just like animals. And the Quran talks about them, gives examples. They are just like animals. They see just like the animals see, but the animal does not know the reality. If somebody puts a gun on the head of a cow, the cow does not understand what that means. It doesn't understand the reality of that. So similarly is the case of a disbeliever. He may be very intelligent in worldly ways, in worldly things, but he doesn't understand that there is a whole plan in the creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything for a purpose. And human beings will one day have to stand before Allah and have to give account to them for that. So every day that passes, the human being is being tested with good and with bad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him all the knowledge which is necessary for his success. Allah has put success in salat, but it doesn't seem like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls people to salat, to his worship, 5 times a day. And the people with intelligence recognize that this is where success is. The people who do not have intelligence do not see the success in that. They're looking at the present. They're not looking in the future. It's just like a child goes to school and doesn't study, and another child goes to school and studies, works hard. And after many years, the one who had been working and struggling, he sees the results of his struggle. And the other one who was not working, was not struggling, also sees the results of his struggle. So at the end of the journey, they see the results. But while they were going through that, they did not see the results. This is the condition of the human being. When he's going through this life, he may not know what the outcome is going to be at the end of the journey. And only Allah can tell him that this way leads to success and this way leads to failure. So a person who has lived his life in accordance with the rules laid down by Allah will have peace of mind, will have happiness, will have contentment even in this life. He may not have all the material things that the unbeliever has, but that's of no consequence to Allah. Allah does not judge people by how many material things they have. Allah does not consider that success, because that success will be taken away the moment the person leaves this life. Whereas the person who leaves this life, a life of obedience to Allah, will see the results of that. The moment death comes, he will know that he has succeeded. He has fulfilled the purpose of his creation. And the moment the death comes to an unbeliever, he will know that he has failed. All his efforts that he made were of no use to him. There are many cases of people who have made big plans, big preparations for great achievements. And Allah says in the Quran, Allah is the best of planners. People make big plans, big preparations, and they think they can outsmart others. And Allah lets them do that for some time. And they feel very happy, just like a spider. He makes a web and he traps the insects, and he's very pleased that his plan has succeeded. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the example of that in the Quran, in Surah Ankabut, in Spider. The plans that people make in this life to trap others are no better, no stronger than the web of a spider. So just like a spider's web can be cleaned out in no time when the owner comes into the house, takes a broom, and sweeps away all the webs made by the spiders, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does the same thing. All the plans and all the great preparations that the spiders make, the spiders or the kings or the big powers make, they are no more than spiders in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the owner of this. If he takes a broom and cleans them out, then they're gone, they're finished. So their plans are no better. They think they have great achievements and they can do what they like. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps giving examples and reminding people that in the sight of Allah you are no more powerful than spiders. But unfortunately, people don't understand, even after so many examples. Allah Ta'ala gives so many examples in the Quran. And the life of Rasulullah is also full of examples. And people who were planning to stop his mission, they tried everything. First they tried to ignore him, the boycott. Then the persecution started. Then he had to migrate to Medina. And when he migrated to Medina, they came after him. They didn't leave him. And imagine a person who's not wanting anything from them. He's just giving the message of truth. He was not asking for power. He was not asking for money. He was not asking for any material things. Why would anybody want to destroy him? Why would anyone want to kill him? But this is the way of the world. That when they see the truth, they start opposing it. And this is a big test for the believers. So even in Medina, they did not let him rest in peace. And they came after him, one battle after another. They kept trying, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was also planning. And He is the best of planners. And the ones who were determined to kill him, who had made plans, ended up accepting his message because they understood this is the truth. That he did not come to rule over them. He didn't come to capture like the people of the world. They want to get into power to benefit from the people. They get into power and they enjoy the luxuries. We see that in the case of politicians. They get elected, they get into power, and then they start enjoying the luxuries of the life. Whereas Rasulullah, when he came back to Makkah, he forgave them. He could have massacred them. He could have taken over their properties. He could have destroyed those people. He could have taken revenge. But instead of that, he forgave everybody. And the world saw, the people saw that he was not their enemy, he was their well-wisher. He had come to guide them. And that's how the deen started spreading. The people who had been persecuted for years, who had to leave their homes, who had to leave all the belongings they had, when they were in power, they could have taken revenge and wiped them out. But they embraced them. They forgot they forgot what had happened, and they let these people benefit from the blessings of Islam. This is the history. This is a very important part of human history that most people are not aware of. People are studying all the revolutions that took place, but they're not studying this, the greatest revolution of all times, when the hearts of the people changed and they embraced each other just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The blacks and the slaves and the rich people and the poor people, they'll all stand in line shoulder to shoulder. Never in the history of mankind there was anything like that, where so many people from so many different races came together in real brotherhood. There was no difference when they stood in Salat, the king standing with the slave, the black standing with the white, and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you see that same thing happening today. People come from all over the world, from all different races, the rich, the poor. Everybody is going through the same process. They're making tawaf around the Kaaba. There's no special treatment for the rich. There's no special treatment for the kings. In front of Allah, everybody is equal, man and woman. Everybody goes through the same rituals. This is to show that in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the thing that matters is their belief, their iman, and their deeds. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them according to that. And this is, of course, the Hajj is once in a lifetime. But every Friday, once a week, the whole community comes together. And they stand behind the Imam, shoulder to shoulder, in worship, in submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And 5 times a day, they come together to go through the same process, to remind themselves that in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these things, the worldly differences, are of no consequence. A person may be a king and a person may be a slave, but that's only for a short time. That's like in a drama. There may be a king and there may be a slave, but when the drama is over, then they're all equal. So when the person goes into the grave, it doesn't matter whether he was a king or he was a slave. So what goes with him in the grave is his deeds. So this is what Islam teaches, that this life is a life of trial. It's a life of test. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing all people for all races. And if people understand the history of Rasulullah SAW, how he struggled for 23 years to bring humanity together, so that this was a time when there was complete unity. The people who had been fighting for years with each other over material things were now united under La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. This is the relationship which will go into the next life. The worldly relations will come to an end. And people have families in this world. They're all there for test. When a person dies, all these relationships with the nation, with the family, with the business, with the companies, all those relationships come to an end. The only relationship that goes with the person is the relationship of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the reality or the understanding of that. Wa akhirat dawana in alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.